Hello everyone. Today we'll discuss another very important unit relating to CSR again. That is Unit 6, Business Strategy in CSR. Yesterday we discussed that we cannot keep aside CSR with business practices or business strategy. If we do that, it will not be an effective one. So today we'll discuss how business strategy can be incorporated, can be considered, how CSR can be considered as one of the important aspect or one of the important business strategy. That is, we should not keep the CSR activities aloof of the business practices. So how we can do that? What is this impact? We'll discuss it in Unit 6, that is Business Strategy in CSR. We'll discuss what basically is business strategy in CSR. We'll discuss integrating CSR into management practices. We'll also discuss different important approaches of business strategy for corporate social responsibility. We'll identify the problems in building cases, business cases for CSR. We'll discuss about business strategy for CSR, integrating business and society. So, the evolution of CSR from a peripheral to a central component of business strategy reflects a growing recognition that CSR can be used as a powerful tool for enhancing both societal and business outcome. There is a breakdown of how adopting CSR can benefit a firm and improve its bottom line, along with the distinction between peripheral and integrated approach. Now, one important question comes into our mind: can a business firm or can a firm do well by adopting CSR? The answer is yes. A firm can do well by adopting CSR, particularly when it is aligning with the CSR activities with its core business strategies. So, how can we do that? The first and very important point is enhanced, it can bring about enhanced reputation and brand value of the company. So, the companies that are actively engaging themselves in CSR activities often enjoy a stronger brand reputation and greater customer loyalty. So, this will lead to increased market share and customer retention. Second is, when we do this, we attract and retain the best talent. So when we are talking about talent, so here employees will increasingly look for employers with strong CSR commitments. So the company or the firm that demonstrates social responsibility obviously will attract and retain the top talent who are motivated by more than just salary, who are motivated by just salary. So so when we are talking about this, we are basically shifting our focus with CSR integration. So the evolution of CSR from a peripheral to the central component of business strategy reflects a growing recognition that CSR can be used as a powerful tool for enhancing both the societal and the business results. So, there is a breakdown of how adopting CSR can benefit a firm and improve its bottom line, along with the distinction between what basically is peripheral and integrated approach. So, integrating CSR into management practices will bring about a profound shift in how a company will frame its business strategy, how it is going to communicate the value to its stakeholders, and so we will have a deeper dive into how this integration will manifest and its implication. So we'll discuss about shift in focus with CSR integration. So what will happen? The first point is it will the shift from traditional metrics to the ethical values. Traditional metrics means traditional focus wherein we take into consideration the annual reports of the company, which is traditionally emphasizing the metrics like service delivery, financial performance of the company, customer satisfaction in the product, customer satisfaction of the company. So these reports will actually highlight how well the company will meet the operational goals and the customer needs. Second is the CSR integration. What we discuss is when we are integrating CSR into the business strategy, the focus shifts to core ethical values. Such as, what are the core ethical values? It can be trust, it can be transparency, it can be reliability, it can be responsibility, so on and so forth. So this will reflect a broader commitment towards the societal and the environmental issues beyond immediate business operations. Second is the recognition of the ethical values. Now, in the past, we'll discuss about the past and the future tensions. So, management acknowledges the tension between maintaining the established practices, which is already in the past, and embracing the new things or new approaches. What are the new approaches? The ethical approaches, which is for the future. So, this awareness will require a delicate balance, navigating between the existing business practices and integrating with the ethical standard. Second is the different important strategic actions that we will be taking. So managers recognize the ethical values, that these are not just the peripheral but the central to the business strategy. So it involves two important elements. One is the ethical investment, that is when we are allocating the resources to the projects, it will align with the ethical values such as sustainability initiatives or social responsibility programs. Second is the guiding principle, which is nothing but adopting the mission and values that will promote societal improvement and incorporate them into the development of new products or services. So there are different important concrete strategic actions that are being taken. The first one is investment in ethical projects. What are the investments? The first one in that we will discuss about. We'll be discussing about purpose-driven investment. When we talk about purpose-driven investment, it is nothing but the companies might invest in projects that will contribute towards the societal benefit, such as renewable energy initiatives, community development programs, fair trade practices, so on and so forth. Long-term value. Now these investments are not only supporting the ethical causes, but it is also enhancing the company's reputation. It is attracting the ethically minded investors and opening up the new market opportunities. So the ethical mission is, which is being considered as the guiding principle, identifies the mission statement. The mission statement is the companies revise their mission statement to reflect a commitment to the ethical values and societal improvement. So what will happen? Now it will help in aligning the company's long-term strategy with the ethical considerations, such that the company will be sustainable one. So in product development, ethical considerations will guide the development of the new products or services. For example, a company might focus on creating eco-friendly products, which are nowadays very readily available, eco-friendly products, and the solutions that is going to address the social issues. Third one is the collaborative practices and the new contract. How we can do it? Through ethical partnership. So companies may seek out the partners and suppliers who are going to share their ethical values, fostering collaborative projects that will adhere to high standard of social and environmental responsibility. Employee engagement at the operational level, the employees are encouraged at the operational level, the employees are encouraged to interpret and implement the company's ethical strategy in their daily tasks. It will help them embedding the strategy into the organizational culture and the operation. So as a result of which, employees will understand the worth of the ethics that is being going to be incorporated, and it will be incorporated in the activities that they undertake. Now, what is the impact of this organizational culture and strategy? The first and very important, impact is there will be enhancement of legitimacy and salience. Legitimacy is what? Now, by incorporating the ethical values into the business strategies, the company will enhance their legitimacy in the eyes of whom? Of the stakeholders who are contributing towards the organization. And this is crucial for gaining trust and maintaining a positive public image, which is going to make the business run. Saliences is nothing but the ethical values become a salient part of the company's identity and operations, which is going to influence both the internal practices and the external perception. Now, second important impact is there will be systematic approach to ethical integration. We cannot think that we are going to incorporate, we'll incorporate the ethical practices there and there. We can't do that. There has to be a systematic approach. So, what will happen? Now, it will give rise to it can be incorporated through by implementing this ethical decision making. Ethical values will influence the strategic decisions that are being taken in the companies and the operational practices. So it will involve a systematic approach to evaluate and implement the ethical considerations in business activities. Cultural shift, when there is the integration of CSR into business strategy, it will foster a culture where ethical behavior is recognized as essential to achieving the business goals and thus sustaining the long-term success of the company. So integration of the CSR into management practices will fundamentally transform how a company will approach its business strategies. So it will shift the focus from the purely financial metrics, which is nothing but profit earning, revenue generation, to incorporating the ethical values as the core components of the strategies that are going to be adopted in the companies. So this integration will require a balanced approach to managing both the traditional business goal and the new ethical standards. So the result is what will be the result? The result will be a holistic and responsible business model will be created, which not only aims for profitability but also seeks to make a positive impact on the society and the environment at large. So we'll discuss now how this integration of social CSR can be approached. CSR into business strategy can be approached. Now it can be approached through various lenses, each offering different advantages and rationalizations. So here is a breakdown of the different important key approaches to CSR, along with the different important theories that are related to cost and risk reduction, how the CSR can create a competitive advantage. There are four important key approaches to CSR. The first and very important approach that we have to keep in our mind is the cost and the risk reduction. What is the objective? The objective of these approaches, we need to minimize the operational risk and cost by addressing the potential society and environmental issues proactively. Because if we are not reducing this risk, it will again impact our business. So one of the important approach to CSR is cost and risk reduction. Now, there are different important theories that are being put forward. The second is the trade-off hypothesis. In this theory, we'll discuss about this trade-off hypothesis. We suggest that this theory is aligned with Milton Friedman's view. Yesterday, in our previous class, we discussed about who basically is Milton Friedman, who argues that the primary responsibility of every corporate executive is to maximize the profit for its shareholders. So it suggests that investing in CSR might lead to higher cost and low profitability, so creating a trade-off between social performance and the financial returns. Second is the slack resource theory, which proposes that the firms which are having surplus resources are more likely to engage in CSR activities. So when the organization will experience high financial performance, they will have additional resources which are considered as the slacks, which can be used for CSR without impacting their core business operations significantly. This is what is called as slack theory. So when we are talking about slack, so slack is nothing but the additional resources. So unless and until we have the fund, we cannot go for investing more and more, that too for a cause which is not included in business. So when we are talking about this, we are basically identifying that the firms which are having surplus resources are more likely to engage in CSR activities. So when the organizations are experiencing high financial performance, they have additional resource which is nothing but the slack, which can be used as the CSR without any impact in the operations, business operations, which is being undertaken on a daily basis. Next is the enlightened value maximization, where the focus is on long-term value creation by managing the trade-off between the stakeholders. So this approach suggests that when we are aligning the managerial interest with the stakeholder interest through stock options, and thus addressing the stakeholder concerns, it can reduce the risk and enhance the long-term corporate value. So how are we going to, do it? We are going to do it by gaining competitive advantage. So what is the objective? By how are you going to increase, or how are you going to gain the competitive advantage? The first and very important, objective is we have to leverage the CSR activities to enhance the competitive positioning and market differentiation. So there are different important key themes that may be included in this. The first one is the supply and the demand of the farm, which argues that if a company is competitive, then it is influenced by its ability to address the needs and the desires and the expectations of the market, which will also include the social and the environmental conditions or considerations. Second is the base of the pyramid, that is BOP approach, which involves the targeting the undeserved market at the base of the economic pyramid, where companies can create their business opportunities by addressing the needs of the low income population, such that we can gain a competitive edge which will while contributing towards the social development. This is what is called as base of pyramid approach. What is that? Again, I'm repeating, it is involving a targeting undeserved market at the base of the economic pyramid, wherein the companies can create the business opportunities by addressing the needs of the low income populations, thereby gaining a competitive edge while also contributing towards the social development. Now, next we discuss about how are we going to draw positive outcome through synergistic value creation. The objective is creating value that is going to benefit both the company and the society through synergistic efforts. The approach is value creation and synergies. When I talk about value creation, I am integrating my CSR with the business strategy such that we can develop a mutually beneficial solution that is going to address the societal issues with us enhancing the business performance. When I'm talking about the synergies, we are leveraging the CSR initiatives to drive innovation and operational efficiencies that is going to benefit both the company and its stakeholders. Next is we go for creating value for multiple stakeholders. The objective is we have to address here when we are talking about drawing positive outcome through synergistic value creation, we are creating the value for the benefit of the society and the benefit of the company through our synergistic effort. When we are talking about creating the value for the multiple stakeholders, we are addressing the needs of the of various stakeholders who are not just shareholders. So what is the approach? Now, stakeholder engagement. In it, what is happening? Now we are actively involving the stakeholders in the decision making process, which is very, very important and which is going to impact a lot in the business making of the company. and thus aligning our CSR effort with the expectations to create a comprehensive value. So how are we now linking the CSR with the CSR, corporate social performance and ethical investing? Now, when we are talking about CSP, which is nothing but corporate social performance, it is the concept which refers to the measurable outcome of the company's CSR activities. So many companies are doing CSR activities, but unless and until we analyze and measure the impact, it will be difficult for us to carry forward. So companies which are having strong corporate social performance often will experience better financial performance due to improved stakeholder relationship and enhanced reputation. Second is ethical investing, where it is based on the belief that there is a strong correlation between social performance and financial performance. So ethical investing will involve allocation of the funds to the companies which are into robust CSR practices. So investors are increasingly focusing on the companies that is going to demonstrate a strong social and environmental performance. Next is competitive advantage through context-based philanthropy. When I talk about context-based philanthropy, the companies are aligning their philanthropic efforts with their business operations and strategic goals which they are going to attain. So by addressing the specific social issues that are related or relevant to the business context, companies can create both the social and the economic value. For example, we have the Cisco Systems, which is a networking academy that demonstrates how the context-based philanthropy can enhance a company's growth prospects, thus addressing the educational needs of the undeserved community. So this approach will not only support corporate social goals, but will also help in mitigating the potential constraints on the business growth by improving the local talent pool. So you are providing training to the underprivileged people, and this it does helps in supporting in the attainment of corporate social goals, and it also helps in mitigating the potential constraints on the business growth, thus by improving the local talent pool. So integration of the CSR into business strategy can be approached through various important methods, each offering a distinct advantage. So while we are focusing on cost and risk reduction, gaining competitive advantage, building reputation, or creating synergistic value, CSR activities can drive both the societal benefit and business success. So the theories like slack theory, enlightened value maximization will provide a framework for understanding how the CSR can be aligned with the financial performance of the company. So context based philanthropy illustrates how CSR can be strategically leveraged to support the business objectives and the social impact. Now, one of the important view that we can take into consideration is the natural resource based view, which is emphasizing the importance of managing the natural resources sustainably. So the companies that are effectively utilizing and conserving the resources can achieve cost savings and improving their competitive position. Now next is how we are going to develop the reputation and legitimacy. The objective is building and maintaining a positive corporate reputation and gaining the legitimacy in the eyes of the stakeholders. So the strategies that we might be using is reputation management, wherein we will be engaging in CSR activities, which will thus enhance the company's public image and will build trust with our stakeholders, that is the customers, the investors, and other stakeholders. And a legitimacy is when we are ensuring that the business practices align with the social expectations and norms, are helping in gaining acceptance and thus avoiding regulatory scrutiny. So there are different important importance of this competitive context and CSR. So the businesses nowadays are increasingly recognizing that they do not operate in isolation. That they do not operate in isolation. Rather they do not operate in isolation. Rather, they are deeply intertwined with the societal and the environmental context of their locations. So this understanding will not only shape the strategies but will also reflect a broader approach to how we can integrate the CSR into business operations. So here is a view of how the competitive context and CSR will interplay, and the strategic rationale behind these approaches can be cited as: the first one is the role of the competitive context. When I'm talking about the role of the competitive context, we are discussing on the competitive context, which is referring to the factories in a company's operational environment that is influencing its competitive position. It includes what? The local workforce quality, infrastructure, regulatory environment, market conditions, so on and so forth. So when we are talking about the local workforce, when we are talking about the local workforce quality, we are talking about the educational and the health levels of the local workforce that is impacting the productivity. So healthy and well educated employees are more productive. Healthy and well educated employees are more productive and thus can contribute more effectively towards the company's success. Second is the infrastructure. So the efficiency of the local infrastructure, that such as the transportation and communication, telecommunication, also affects the operational efficiency and logistics. Third is the regulatory environment. When I'm talking about the regulatory environment, I am talking about the government regulations. So the extent and the nature of the government regulations will influence the operational flexibility and the cost involved. Next is the market conditions. Market condition is nothing but the size size and sophistication of the local market. Size and sophistication of the local market that is going to impact a company's ability to scale and thus compete effectively. So what is the strategic importance? So the companies that are effectively engaging with their competitive context can enhance their productivity and competitive advantage. So improving the local conditions, improving the local conditions can lead to a more skilled workforce who can contribute positively towards the environment, and which will benefit both the in general, it is going to benefit both the company and the community. Second is the CSR and the strategic goals. So when we are talking about the CSR, it is increasingly seen as an integral to every business practices. So it is not only a peripheral activity, rather it is now a part of the business operations. The alignment of this CSR with the business objectives will lead to long-term value creation. When I'm talking about long-term value creation, I'm addressing the social and the environmental issues. Companies can enhance their long-term viability and competitiveness. For example, reduction in the environmental effect will lead to more efficient resource use and lower cost. Second is the competitive advantage. The firms can integrate the CSR into their strategies and can differentiate themselves in the marketplace and attract the customers, and thus help in building a stronger bond. Now, when we are talking about the natural resource based view, it is emphasizing the importance of managing the natural resources sustainably. If you can manage the natural resources sustainably, then the companies can effectively utilize and conserve the resources and thus can achieve cost savings and improve their competitive positions, which all the companies cannot do. So how we can do it now? Developing developing this reputation and legitimacy. The objective here is building and maintaining a positive corporate reputation and thus gaining legitimacy in the eyes of the stakeholders. There are different important strategies used. The first one is the reputation management, wherein we are engaging in CSR activities to enhance the company's public image, thus building trust with the customers, investors, and its stakeholders. When we are talking about legitimacy, we are ensuring that business practices are aligning with the societal expectations and the norms, which is also helping in gaining acceptance and avoiding regulatory scrutiny. There are different important case study examples of the CSR integration into business practices. The first one is the honey care in Africa. It is basically a company which is based in Nairobi, Kenya, which is integrating the CSR into its business model by working with the rural farmers. The NGOs and the microfinance institutions are also involved. This honey cares approach improves the local beekeeping practices, practices. It enhances the rural development, thus promoting environmental sustainability. So this model not only benefits the local community but also supports the company's expansion and growth. Second important example is the Gramin Shakti, which is operating in Bangladesh. This organization is providing solar electricity to the rural areas, supported by microfinance from Gramin Bank, and there is integration of the social goals with the business operations, thus enhancing rural development, and environmental sustainability is also seen while also generating profitability. So the company is growing. Next is reputation and legitimacy, which we have already discussed. There are different important causes that is related to marketing and business responsibility, which is called as cause related marketing, which is integrating CSR with the marketing strategies to align the companies with social causes. What we do it, we go for value creation and strategic approach. When we are talking about value creation, this cause related marketing can enhance a company's reputation and build customer loyalty by supporting the causes that is going to resonate with the consumers. So this alignment will create both mutual benefit both for the company and the cause for which you are operating. Strategic approaches, effective cause related marketing will involve selecting the causes that is best fitting with the company's values and strategic goals. For example, we have HP, which is using the recyclable products. McDonald's, which is which has the socially responsible supply system. It demonstrates how the company can integrate the social responsibility into their branding strategies and into their marketing strategies. Now, what are the customer expectations? As the customer will become more socially conscious, they will prefer the companies that demonstrate ethical and sustainable practices. So this cause related marketing will help the companies respond to these expectations while also undertaking their businesses. Fifth one is we need to create the value of the multiple stakeholders. How can we do it? We can do it by integrating CSR into business strategy, which is leading a value, which will lead to value creation for multiple stakeholders. How can we do it? The first one, we can do it through societal learning. Societal learning is nothing but engaging with the communities, with the social networks, such that we can create opportunities for mutual gain. So the triple bottom line concept. What is the triple bottom line concept? Wherein we have to take into consideration the people, planet, and profit. It emphasizes the synergies between social, environment, and economic goals. Now we can also do it through sustainable networks, like the models like sustainable local enterprise network, SLEN, shows how businesses and communities and NGOs can collaborate with each other to create a economic and the social value. So in general, we conclude that integrating the CSR into business strategy will provide a holistic approach to address the societal and the environmental challenges, thus enhancing the competitive advantage and long-term profitability. So when we are aligning the CSR efforts with the strategic objectives, the company can achieve both the societal benefits as well as the business success, thus demonstrating that social and the economic goals are often complementary rather than conflicting in nature. Now, there are different important challenges and complexities in CSR. We also discussed its impact on the financial performance of the company. We will discuss here again the how we can integrate the CSR into business strategy, thus offering a significant benefit. And we also not only it will impact us significantly, but also it will present several different challenges and complexities. So these issues has to be resolved by justifying the CSR efforts at the organizational and societal levels, and thus understanding the causal relationship between corporate social performance, that is CSP, and corporate financial performance, which is CFP. So here we have the different important challenges that we will be discussing that is being faced by the companies. The first one is the organizational justification. The organizational justification includes the economic justification. So we are demonstrating a clear rate on investment ROI from CSR activities, which is often challenging. So the direct correlation between the CSR and improved performance is not always straightforward or consistent. Rather, it is difficult for the companies to justify the CSR purely on economic grounds. Next is the ethical justification. When I talk about the ethical justification, it identifies that we are integrating ethical considerations into business strategy, which can be a complex. Ethical considerations into business strategy, which can be a complex one. So the companies must develop a balance between ethical imperatives with economic realities, which can be difficult to achieve and may not always align with the short term financial goals. Now, societal justification is the public expectations that the people are having. So, societal expectations regarding CSR will vary, making it difficult for the companies to address to all the stakeholders that are demanding effectively. So there will be conflicting expectations from different stakeholder group, and which can create complications and which can create complications and can bring about problems in justifying and implementing the CSR efforts. Second one is the causal connection between the CSP and the CFP. So there is a positive correlation. What is positive correlation? There is enhanced reputation with it when we are connecting with each other. The positive CSR effort will help in improving the company's reputation among the stakeholders. It will lead to increased employee satisfaction, and supplier cooperation. So these factors will contribute to enhanced financial performance through better retention of the employees, higher sales in the company, and thus improving the bargaining power of the customer. Second is the competitive advantage. When the CSR initiatives that build a strong reputation can create competitive advantage. How are you going to create it? Now, by differentiating the company from its competitors. So a company known for the ethical practices may attract more number of customers and talent pools or talented employees, thus enhancing its market positions. This is the positive correlation. What is the negative correlation? when we are going for this integration of CSR activities into business strategy, it involves cost. So when we are implementing CSR initiatives, it involves additional cost, such as those which is related to ethical sourcing, environmental sustainability, or community engagement. So this cost may not always result in immediate financial gains, but slowly and slowly it will lead to a negative correlation between CSP and CFP. Second important negative point is it will give rise to competitive disadvantage. If we go on implementing the strategies such that we can incorporate CSR into businesses, the cost associated with CSR activities can sometimes outweigh the benefits. So placing a company at a competitive disadvantage compared to the firms that do not invest in CSR is an issue. So it will essentially it will essentially challenge in industries with thin profit margins or intense competitions. Thin profit margins or intense competition. Now, third one is the intangible assets and the competitive advantage. We talk about here the reputation and the loyalty. When we talk about this intangible value, it is suggesting that CSR contributes to building intangible assets such as strong brand reputation, consumer trust, employee loyalty, so on and so forth. So these are the assets which will help in enhancing the company's overall value and can serve as a source for competitive advantage. Second is the higher pricing power. A strong CSR reputation can enable a company to charge premium prices for its products or service. So consumers are often willing to pay more for the product from socially responsible companies. So this will lead to increase in profitability. Second is the stakeholder satisfaction, which is another intangible asset. Now, image building, we have the positive relations that is being created with the stakeholders, and a strong CSR reputation will help in enhancing the company's image. It will lead to increased customer loyalty and employee retention. So it will contribute to stable revenues and improved financial performance over time. Next is long-term stability. When we are talking about CSR, it can contribute to long-term financial stability by fostering good relationship with the stakeholders. It will lead to consistent revenue streams. It will lead to consistent revenue streams and reduced risk, as the stakeholders are more likely to support and stay loyal to a company that is aligning with the values of the company. That is aligning with the values of the company. So while integrating the CSR into business strategy, there is a navigation, both positive and negative outcome, that is relating to financial performance. So while CSR can enhance reputation, CSR can enhance reputation, build intangible assets, and create cost and present challenges in demonstrating the direct financial benefits. So there are different important key points to consider. The first one is the CSR justification, wherein we are balancing the economic, ethical, and societal considerations with the which is crucial for justifying the CSR initiatives. Now, a co-relationship between CSP and CFP, where the relationship between corporate social performance, CSP is corporate social performance, and corporate financial performance can vary. So positive correlations will enhance the reputation and loyalty. Positive correlation will enhance the reputation of the company and the loyalty towards the company of the employees, while negative correlations will involve increased cost and competitive disadvantage. So, what are the intangible benefits? The CSR often contributes to intangible assets like reputation and stakeholder loyalty, which can lead to long term financial benefits. So, understanding these challenges and complexity will help the companies to navigate the integration of CSR into their business strategies for effectively aiming to achieve both social impact and financial resources. Social impact and financial resources. It can be through top up form or bottom up form. So evolution of this integration of CSR, we need to discuss now from shareholder to share values. So CSR has evolved significantly over time, moving its focus from solely which focuses solely on shareholder interest to a broader, more integrative approach are that emphasize stakeholder presence and shared value. So this evolution will reflect a deeper understanding of the interconnections between the business success and the societal well-being. So here is an overview of this progression and its implication for CSR strategy. So first one is the historical perspective on CSR. It is the shareholder centric approach. The early CSR research and practice is centering primarily on shareholder. Next is shareholder centric approach. So when we are talking about this shareholder centric approach, we are shifting our focus from business to the community, from business to the community. uh, so when we are talking about shareholder centric approach, our initial focus in the initial focus, early CSR research and practice are centered primarily on shareholder responsibility. So and businesses were mainly accountable to their shareholders, prioritizing their profit maximization and financial returns. Competitive advantage, this approach was often about building a competitive edge by focusing on profit and efficiency, and sometimes which is at the expense of broader social consideration. Second is the stakeholder centric approach, where there is shift in focus, and over time the stakeholder approach have gained prominence, emphasizing the need to consider the interest of all the parties affected by business operations, including its employees, customers, suppliers, and the community. Simultaneous existence, rather than replacing the shareholder approach, the stakeholder perspective has built up, expanding the scope of the business responsibility, thus integrating broader societal concerns into corporate strategy. Second is the integrative approach, which is creating and the ethical divides. How? Now, by integration of motives and shared value creation. Now, modern CSR is requiring to move beyond the fragmented motives such that we can adopt a more integrative perspective that is aligning the business strategies with the societal benefits. We have the shared value creation, wherein we are creating a shared value which is involving a linkage between CSR activities with closely related business strategies. So this approach leverages a company's unique resources and competences to enhance the social programs and thus create competitive advantage. There are different important mechanisms of shared value creation. The first one is the pre-conceiving the products and services. How can we do that? Now, innovating the products, exploring the new markets, which is addressing the societal needs, thus generating business opportunity. Second is redefining the productivity in the value chain. We are enhancing the efficiency and effectiveness of the value chain to benefit both the company and the society. It includes improving operational practices, thus reducing the social impact. Third is enabling local cluster development, wherein we strengthen the local clusters. Local means that areas, clusters and ecosystems to improve the company's product competitive extent and contribute to regional development. Third is the strategic and the social implications. When we are talking about strategic philanthropy and social investment, we are improving the business inputs, wherein the CSR can improve the access to high quality business input by creating with skilled employees, efficient infrastructure and relevant technology that is to be used. So these improvements will enhance the market size and the business performance. Second is the interrelationship with the society. So understanding and incorporating interrelationship between a firm and the society into the business strategies will optimize the impact of CSR initiatives. Second is the value chain analysis. We'll discuss about the operational issues and the prioritization. When we are talking about the operational issues, we are analyzing the value chain that is helping in identifying the social consequences of business activities, revealing the opportunities for positive impact and the areas needed for its improvement. Prioritization: the company should prioritize addressing negative social impact and focus on activities that is having a significant role in social and strategic value. So what is the societal influence on business? The first one is productivity and strategy. The societal factors such as education, healthcare, infrastructure will influence a company's productivity and its ability to execute strategies. So, a healthy society will help in supporting a productive workforce and thus creating a stable business operation. Now, what is the role of the business? The business sector plays a very important and crucial role in creating employment and wealth, which in turn will improve the living standard and social conditions. And a strong, healthy society will benefit both. A strong, healthy society will benefit both the business and the societal progress. Mutual dependence of business and society, wherein we discuss about the shared value principle, which is nothing but the mutual dependency and long-term growth. Business and society are mutually dependent and both must pursue the policies such that they can create shared value. So focusing solely on one side interest at the expense of other will jeopardize the long-term growth of the company. Now, when I'm talking about the long term goal, we are pursuing shared value, which helps in ensuring sustainable and equitable growth, benefiting both the business and the society in the long run. So, how are we going to integrate into core frameworks? The business strategies, we integrate a social perspective into core business framework, which will help the company understand the competition and thus guide their strategies effectively. Societal policies should also align with the business interest to avoid the conflict and foster mutual benefit. So these are some of the important things one has to keep in our mind when we are talking about integration of CSR into business strategy. So when we discussed that CSR is practiced more as philanthropic business model in the early stages of development. Slowly and so slowly, companies have embraced the CSR by associating themselves with the social causes, environmental causes, and thus alleviating the sufferings of the underprivileged. So CSR has shifted its domain from corporate plurality to central corporate agenda and and source of competitive value. So with the growth of the CSR, the companies embrace CSR for their organizational strategy. So synergizing the social and the corporate agenda, synergizing the social and the corporate agenda will allow the companies to embed CSR into their organizational culture. So by integrating the management practice, there will be increase in the legitimacy and ethical value as interesting part of the business strategy. So CSR in its business strategy will then focus on values of trust, transparency, reliability, and responsibility. So the management practice recognizes the management practice recognizes the problems as a permanent part of the company. So acceptance of the ethical values as legitimate basis of business strategy also translates into concrete strategic actions like investment in ethical products, adopting society, improving mission as guiding principle in the development of the new solutions to the customers. So there are new contracts, collaborative practices, that is allowing the employees at the operation level to understand the strategy in the context of their work. So CSR objectives can be integrated as creating values for the organization and the society as well as for its stakeholders. So in this chapter we have come across different important terms, like say we have the business strategy. When I'm talking about business strategy, it is a combination of the decisions taken and the actions performed by the business to accomplish the business goal. So when we are talking about business strategy, it is basically a combination of different decisions taken, the actions that you are undertaking that are being performed by the business, thus accomplishing its business goals. Now, who is a stakeholder? In the previous class, we discussed a stakeholder is a party that has an interest in a company and can either affect or is affected by the business. Cross related marketing, that is the CRM. Cause related marketing is a marketing method wherein the business aligns themselves with the social issues. Business will align themselves with the social issues or beliefs that are important to them and will execute a campaign accordingly. So when we are talking about cause related marketing, which is the CRM, which is the process wherein the business will align themselves with the social issues or beliefs that are important to them and will execute a campaign and will execute a campaign accordingly. Now, coming to the another important term that we used in it is the corporate social performance. That is the CSP. Corporate social performance is the stakeholder assessments of the CSR. Is the stakeholder assessment of the CSR and corporate citizenship over time in comparison with the competition. Next, we discussed about the synergistic value. Now, here it is based on the synergistic value, it is based on the slack resources, the stakeholder engagement, the regulatory intervention, which will transcend the strategic CSR benefits for both the business and the society. So, in general, it is telling that when we are integrating CSR into business strategies, it becomes easy for us to incorporate sustainability into the businesses. It is impacting the society, it is impacting the organization, it brings about development of the organization, it brings about benefit of the society. By integration of this CSR into businesses, we are not only helping in developing the organization, we can also go for development of the we are also going for the development of the society at large. So integration of society of CSR into business strategies can create different important avenues for our business to be sustainable, can create avenues to create value for our company, can create an intention in the minds of the individuals to work responsibility, and it will not create any difficulty in the conduction of the businesses when it becomes a part of the business operation. So in this chapter, we discussed the relationship of the business strategy with the CSR. We discussed that there is no single rationalization of business strategy strategy in CSR. We explored the relationship between the stakeholders, between the stakeholders and business, and we also discussed the different types of business cases for CSR. So we have to strive hard to see how we can contribute towards our businesses through CSR practices. So we in this chapter we have completed what basically is integration of business strategy with CSR, how we are integrating this CSR into management practices, what are the different approaches we are following for integration of business strategy for in CSR, what are the different types of problems that we might face when we are undertaking the businesses by integrating the CSR with the business strategy, and we also discuss about how what are the different important strategies for CSR so that we can integrate both the business and the society at large. So thank you so very much for listening from me. We'll meet in the next chapter. Thank you.